All right, let's dive right into this game. We're looking at Pakenham versus Camberwell, April 12th. And wow, what a game this turned out to be.
Oh, yeah. Total roller coaster.
Exactly. Lead changes constantly, huge momentum swings, some really clutch plays, and that final minute, well, it was just pure chaos, wasn't it?
Absolutely nuts. Hard to believe how it ended.
Final score, just to set the stage. Pakenham gets the win, 79-76. We're going to break this down quarter by quarter, look at what went right, what went wrong, the key players.
Sounds good. Because each quarter really had its own distinct feel, didn't it? It wasn't like one team dominated the whole way.
Not at all. So let's start with the first quarter. Camberwell, they came out flying.
They really did. What jumped out to you first?
Well, right away, that sharp backdoor cut for an easy bucket. Then Trent Andre, boom, hits a three.
Yeah, and Reeves got going early too, right? Driving inside.
Yep, Michael Reeves attacking the paint. It felt like their plan from the jump was push the tempo and really own the inside.
That makes sense. Control the pace, establish Reeves down low before Pakenham could really set their defense. Did you see that too? Their spacing looked pretty good early on.
Yeah, that backdoor cut only happens if the spacing works, stretching the D. And Reeves definitely capitalized.
So what about Pakenham's start? A bit slower.
Yeah, definitely slower. Ned Carr got them on the board, nice little floater. And Cody Fredrickson was trying to get things moving, distributing the ball.
But the turnovers?
Well, the turnovers, two quick ones, back to back. Coffee, then Carr. That just killed any early momentum they might have built.
Right. And those are gifts, really. Extra chances for Camberwell, and it let Reeves, like you said, get comfortable inside. Build that early confidence.
Definitely. You could see Camberwell thinking, okay, let's feed Reeves.
Pakenham were lucky, maybe, that Ben Crow hit that three late in the quarter.
Huge shot. Kept them close. Without that, the gap could have been, 8-10 points maybe.
So after one, Camberwell controlled the tempo. Pakenham hanging in there, mostly through like individual plays rather than flowing offense.
That's how it looked. Score after the first. Camberwell 19, Pakenham 16. Pretty tight still.
But then the second quarter, a big shift. Right?
No, massive shift. The energy completely flipped for Pakenham.
Josh Dow, off the...
Instantly. Comes in, nails the three right away. Larkin with the assist. You could almost feel the bench, the whole team just lift after that shot.
That spark from the bench, it's such a game changer sometimes. It's not just the points, it's the whole vibe,
Totally. And then Cody Fredrickson really started imposing himself. Good moves in the mid-post, finding guys that assist to Ned Carr for the fadeaway was nice.
Pakenham seemed to find their rhythm. But Camberwell, they had Lozzies stepping up a bit in the second.
Yeah, Naeem Lozzies, he hit a three. Trent Andre assisted on that one. And then he had a tough and one layup he was trying to answer.
But the turnovers started hitting Camberwell then, didn't they?
They did. Suddenly it was Camberwell giving the ball away. Fredrickson got a steal. Coffee got one. Led to easy points for Pakenham going the other way.
Those live ball turnovers are just brutal. They swing momentum so fast.
And you saw Pakenham's defense tighten up, too. The rotations felt quicker. They were closing out harder, especially later in the quarter.
More connected on that end.
Yeah, it felt like a different team defensively compared to the first.
And that defense fueled the offense, right?
Yeah.
Getting out in transition.
Yep. Bursek with a hook shot in transition. Viney hits a three off a broken play. And that three actually gave Pakenham their first lead of the game.
How big was that moment, psychologically?
Yeah.
Taking the lead after trailing.
Huge, I think. For Pakenham, it's like, okay, we're back. Our adjustments are working. For Camberwell, maybe a little doubt starts creeping in, even though they still had the lead at the half.
Right, it was still super close at halftime. Was it 40-39 Camberwell?
Exactly. 40-39, Camberwell still had highlights. Reeves had that dunk. Andre was making plays, but you started to notice their bench wasn't really contributing much.
Yeah, that lack of depth seemed like it could become a story later on.
And it kind of did. Coming out for the third, Pakenham just kept that momentum rolling.
Dow again, right? Another three?
Yep, Josh Dow hits his second three early in the third. He was feeling it. Then Larkin gets a layup. Quick 7-2 run, and suddenly Pakenham had control.
They looked like they were playing with a lot more confidence. And the defense stayed strong.
Really strong. Ned Carr was everywhere on the glass. They blocked a three-point attempt. Just making everything tough for Camberwell. What adjustments do you think they made defensively at the half?
Hard to say for sure without being in the huddle, but maybe more aggressive help. Or tweaking their pick-and-roll coverage. Card cleaning the glass suggests a real focus on finishing possessions.
Made sense. And Camberwell, they started looking really reliant on Reeves, didn't they?
Totally. He was battling, Tip-ins, putbacks, trying to do everything. But it felt like he had to do everything because the bench wasn't giving them much. That's tough to sustain.
Especially against a team playing with Pakenham's energy then. And that sequence, Dow hits the 3. Then Reeves misses at the other end. Larkin grabs it, goes coast to coast for a layup. 5-point swing, just like that. Felt like a real gut punch for Camberwell.
Yeah, that can deflate a team. And their offense seemed to, stall out a bit in the third.
It did, settling for contested jumpers, not much off-ball movement. Pakenham's defense deserves credit, but Camberwell also looked a bit predictable.
Maybe running out of ideas or just worn down by the pressure.
Could be. So, end of the third, Pakenham leads 62-59. Still close, but Pakenham definitely had the momentum.
Which sets up that wild fourth quarter.
Just buckle up for this. Camberwell obviously desperate, throwing everything they had left.
Reeves kept attacking, right? Trying to get to the line.
Relentlessly, he knew they needed points. And then Laz's.
Yeah.
Wow.
That deep 3. With how much time left?
34 seconds left.
Yeah.
Bang. Cuts the lead to just 3. Suddenly, overtime feels very, very possible.
Huge shot. But Pakenham had a chance to ice it, or at least make it tougher.
At the free throw line, Ned Carr, 44 seconds left, goes 1 for 2, misses the second one. Door still open for Camberwell.
Oh, man, those missed free throws late.
Yeah.
They always feel massive. Gave Camberwell life.
And the final 15 seconds were just frantic.
Pure chaos. How many shots did Camberwell get off?
3. They got 3 looks to tie. 2 threes from Laz's, I think, and then a tip-in attempt in the scramble by Crow, maybe?
And none of them dropped. Unbelievable.
Just couldn't get one to go down. Rebounds, desperation. And then, fittingly, Ned Carr, after missing that free throw,
comes up to the block at the buzzer.
Seals the win with a massive defensive play. Incredible ending.
Just wild. But Pakenham almost let it slip away earlier in the fourth, too, right? They got a bit shaky.
They did. There was a stretch, some rush shots. They had a bad inbound turnover, some defensive mix-ups. Camberwell was right there, could have easily retaken the lead, made it way closer than it needed to be.
Showed some resilience, though, didn't they? Burkheck and Carr made some big stops before that final scramble. Crow grabbing offensive rebounds. They bent, but didn't completely break.
True. They held on. And for Camberwell, that last possession, they got looks right. Lazzy's got open.
Yeah, looked like decent execution to get the shots. They just couldn't convert. Sometimes that's just basketball. Ball doesn't bounce your way.
So looking back, who really stood out for you in this one?
Well, for Camberwell, you have to start with Michael Reeves. He was immense. Scoring, rebounding, hustle. Probably had a double-double easily. Carried him.
No doubt. And for Pakenham, Ned Carr. Clutch shots, clutch rebounds, that game-winning block. Composed when it mattered most, despite the missed free throw.
Absolutely. And you can't forget Josh Dow. That spark off the bench in the second and third.
Yeah.
Hitting those threes totally changed the game's momentum. Huge impact.
Agreed. And maybe a nod to Lodges for Camberwell, too. Even in the loss, that late shooting was incredible. Almost pulled it out for them.
Yeah, he hit some seriously tough shots down the stretch.
Okay, so what did Camberwell actually do well here, despite the loss?
Well, that start was strong. Clear plan, high intensity. They ran some nice sets for Reeves and Lazzy's early on. And I thought their perimeter defense picked up a bit in the fourth when they were scrambling back.
Fair enough. And areas for improvement for both sides.
For Pakenham, got to be the late free throws and maybe the clock management. Letting Camberwell hang around like that.
Yeah, almost cost them.
And for Camberwell, probably shot selection under pressure at times. Became maybe a bit too Reeves or bust when things got tight. And that lack of a reliable second or third option consistently hurt them, especially when the bench gave them so little.
Seems right. So big picture, it feels like execution, depth, and just sheer hustle were the difference makers.
I think so. Camberwell had the top-end talent shining brightly with Reeves and Lazzy's late, but Pakenham's overall team effort, that grinded-out approach across the roster, that's what got them over the line in the end.
It was a grind, for sure. Great game to break down.
Definitely a compelling watch. Close battles are always the most interesting.
All right, let's put the listeners in the hot seat then. You're coaching Camberwell. Down 3, final possession, 1 shot. Who are you drawing the play up for? Is it Reeves, the guy who carried you? Is it Lil C's, who just hit that massive 3? Or do you gamble on someone else entirely, try to catch Paken off guard?
Tough call.
Yeah.
Reeves draws the attention. Lazzy's has the hot hand.
Yeah.
What do you prioritize?
Exactly. Let us know what you think. Head to the comments. Tell us who gets that last shot and why.